joy to the ones who lost their hope. You fill my head with roses. I can't help but dream away, standing on a field with you and flowers everywhere. Maybe there is a star with your name. One thing I know is that there should be. There is no one who has a heart as pure, no, not like yours. Dreaming of you. 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 I'm dreaming of you. What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Say something that will make my day, 'cause these memories of her won't go away. They're haunting me so I can't sleep. She was a pretty little liar who cut me deep, 'cause she left me here alone. Now my bed feels just like cobblestone. Oh, why did she go? Oh, was I supposed to know that she'd leave? Was I too naive to think that she'd be the one? Whoa, why did she go? I met her back in 2005. It was her crooked little smile that caught my eye. Time went by and it was her and I. She promised me to never leave my side, but she left me here alone. I know it's dumb, I still check my phone, 'cause I can't move on. Whoa. to you.